With 2 tweets, Tesla stock is up 6% and Twitter stock is down 10%. So think about the leverage that gives him into this deal simply with those tweets.
We want to talk more about what this Twitter deal on pause means for Tesla. And at least for now, Tesla investors are cheering. That stock closed higher by 5.7% today.
In this video, great news for Tesla stock investors, not so great news for Twitter stock investors, unless of course they're short Twitter stock. Shout out to Hindenburg Research, well played. As billions of dollars, perhaps $10+ billion are at risk in the latest drama relating to Elon Musk's proposed acquisition of Twitter. If you own Tesla stock, it's very important to understand what's happening with Elon Musk's Twitter deal, as this is having a direct and indirect impact on Tesla stock. So let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment theme merch in the merch store, so check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. We've got a lot to get through, let's jump straight into it. In case you haven't heard from Elon Musk on Twitter just a couple of days ago, quote, Twitter deal temporarily on hold pending details supporting calculation that spam and fake accounts do indeed represent less than 5% of users. Elon linking to a Reuters article, the headline of which reads, quote, Twitter estimates spam, fake accounts comprise less than 5% of users in a filing. Twitter estimated in a filing on Monday that false or spam accounts represent fewer than 5% of its monetizable daily active users during the first quarter. The social media company had 229 million users who were served advertising in the first quarter. The disclosure came days after Tesla's CEO Elon Musk, techno king of Tesla, Elon Musk, who has inked a deal to buy Twitter for $44 billion, tweeted that one of his priorities would be to remove spam bots from the platform. Twitter said in the filing it faced several risks until the deal with Musk is closed, such as whether advertisers will continue to spend on Twitter and potential uncertainty regarding our future plans and strategy. The instant this was announced, pre-market, Twitter stock fell off a cliff down about 25%, rebounding, closing the day down around 10%. Meanwhile, Tesla stock going in the opposite direction. There's been some major new developments since this was first announced, but before we get to that, let's see how the mainstream finance media reacted to the initial news.
The bot issue, the spam issue is not new.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the first thing, if anyone is the least bit surprised about any of this, you have not watched how Elon Musk operates over the last few years. I mean, part of me honestly believes that he's a little jealous that he has not been in the headlines over the last few weeks. His growth stocks are collapsing and we're all talking about Luna. So he's pushing himself back in.
Seriously? I mean, I'm not putting words in this guy's mouth. He literally just said part of him believes that Elon Musk has announced this deal is on hold simply to get back in the headlines. Okay.
But also, let's remember how genius he is at Twitter. With 2 tweets, Tesla stock is up 6% and Twitter stock is down 10%. So think about the leverage that gives him into this deal simply with those tweets. And as you were just saying, the spam bot issue should be a non-starter. He waived his rights to due diligence.
I don't want to be too hard on this guy. He hasn't quite finished making his point. But this bot issue certainly could be a starter. Elon relied upon publicly stated information about Twitter. The validity, the truthfulness of which is now under question. This deal was put together based on all publicly available information from the company. If it turns out that Twitter has inaccurately, falsely, misstated, understated the number of fake accounts, bots and so on Twitter, this massively changes the dynamics of the deal. Think about it. If there's less users who can be monetized, I mean, everything about this deal changes. Elon has every right to double check that Twitter's numbers are actually correct. This should be a starter, not a non-starter. Of course, everything turns out fine and turns out that bots are less than 5% of active daily monetizable users, then great, no problem, proceed with the deal. But the argument that waiving your due diligence rights means that you can't come back with something like this is absurd, because Elon isn't saying, hey, I forgot maybe there's bots. No. He's saying, hang on a minute. Twitter says under 5%. We're not so sure. Let's just double check.
And even more importantly, the spam bot issue, he's saying he wants to try to fix it, but he has all the internal information he needs. He can get anyone on the phone at any time. So clearly this is a negotiating tact.
Yeah.
It's a rough one, though, Ranjan, because I'm looking at Snap, right? It's at about a $40 billion market cap, so it's a decent comp to Twitter. Snap is down 30% in the past month, and Elon was already paying a premium for Twitter in his proposal. So, I mean, when the value of your target goes down that much, it's kind of like saying you're going to buy a house, you get into contract, and then you're like, oh, I don't know about those cracks in the sidewalk and some of those teenagers who like to loiter around the corner store. I mean, come on, you knew that already. But at the same time, I mean, the money is what's important for investors to watch here. And we can see what's happened to the overall internet stock cohort, and we can see what happens to Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, so this is very important. There's two parts of this. There's the Twitter share price, which, as you said, 100% correct. Every public market comparable has collapsed. I mean, Amazon's down 40%, Apple's down 20%, the blue chips are down. So clearly the price should be lower.
Relatively hard to argue with that. As someone who has personally purchased real estate, and by the way, you never, ever want to be on the opposite side of a real estate transaction with me. If we get a deal done, you seriously got f***ed. I'm just saying. There's definitely clear room for negotiating on Twitter's price, irrespective of anything that Twitter stated that may or may not be correct. Elon definitely has a case to go, you know what? Everything in the market has been absolutely creamed since this offer was announced. Comparables are down 20-30%. Let's renegotiate price. Of course, Twitter could always refuse, but should they do that, remember, they have to do whatever is in the best interest of shareholders. Everyone knows Twitter stock will collapse if Elon's acquisition doesn't go through. Strong evidence of this was the fact that Twitter stock closed down about 10% the day it was announced the deal was on hold. Just imagine if it gets cancelled. Of course, if Elon's team discovers that Twitter has overstated the number of real, legitimate, monetizable daily active users, this will be a double whammy of negotiating leverage.
But Musk committed at 54.20. I still think the bigger issue is around Tesla shares. He's been trying to diversify away from being responsible for the sheer volume of his own shares collateralizing loans, of him having to raise his own cash. They got 19 investors committing $7 billion. Jason Calacanis is out trying to get $250,000 clips. You know, they're trying to raise external money so it doesn't affect Tesla shares. But also Tesla, the company, is facing a number of headwinds. Tesla Shanghai was closed. They're now producing potentially 200 cars a day. To reach 1.5 million cars is an almost impossibility.
Clip it, check back, early 2023. 1.5 million vehicles delivered for the full year, almost an impossibility. Just reminding you guys, when you check back in a little under a year's time, Tesla will once again have done the almost impossible.
How far back does this go? I mean, Elon Musk was aware of a lot of the issues you just brought up when he made this bid. Do you think he wants Twitter at a lower price, or do you think maybe he doesn't want Twitter at all? He wants that cash from Tesla that he already cashed out.
I mean, I actually think this goes back to the funding secured tweet from a few years ago, because one of the key developments this week, 2 days ago, a judge ruled that the initial tweet was inaccurate and reckless during related to a shareholder lawsuit. So the walls are closing in from the SEC on that side. There's the SEC investigation into how Musk purchased his Twitter shares and his delay in filing. There's the insider trading related to Kimball Musk. There's so many investigations going back to the funding secured that I do think Musk is trying to make a move here to try to even reassert himself that I can tweet anything I want. I'm going to show it, and everyone should fear me.
Credit to our friend here. I think he has quite the imagination.
Especially the Twitter board, Twitter shareholders in negotiating any deal like this. And I think, again, the SEC investigations are going to be increasing, and he is going directly against that, and he's making a show of it right now.
To me, this is a negotiating tactic. That top-level enterprise value bid has to come down. He knows it, and I think he's playing for time and he's playing for value.
You know, he could say, okay, the deal's going to be done at $44.20. I mean, you know, as our Alex Sherman has reported, maybe Twitter sues him if he tries to back out or renegotiate the deal. But as we know, Musk doesn't really care about the traditional way that deals are getting done here. So if this is about a lower price, is there really any way that we would avoid that outcome?
Well, Kelly, in any deal, whether you're buying a house or buying a company, and whether that's in the private or in the public market, negotiating by finding diligence out is pretty much par for the course. So the fact that Elon Musk is coming forward now and saying there are some holes in the operations that are causing me to pause, I don't find particularly surprising. Frankly, if anything, I'm surprised it didn't happen a little bit sooner.
Those were some of the reactions in the mainstream finance media, but this story continues to develop. So now let's check in on the latest. Elon Musk clarifying, still committed to the acquisition, obviously. I mean, this shouldn't surprise anyone who understands Elon Musk. Free speech matters. Twitter's a fucking cesspool. The woke mind virus has taken over big tech, social media, the entire Democratic Party, it seems, most of academia, all of Hollywood, bar like one or two exceptions, and something clearly needs to be done. However, it gets even juicier. Another tweet from Elon on the same thread, quote, "To find out about the spam bots, my team will do a random sample of 100 followers of the Twitter account, as in @Twitter. I invite others to repeat the same process and see what they discover. Plenty more, so stay tuned." Tesla owner Silicon Valley, how are you defining random? Elon responding, ignore the first 1,000 followers, then pick every 10th. I'm open to better ideas. Obviously, the first 1,000 followers, more likely to be people's friends, family, and acquaintances. Hey, I'm on Twitter, do you want to follow me, blah, blah, blah. Once that initial burst of people following, what's happening after that? Elon responding again, if we collectively try to figure out the bot/duplicate user percentage, we can probably crowdsource a good answer. Elon's right. As I mentioned, until Elon's offer to purchase Twitter, I hadn't really paid a whole lot of attention, but I've been really looking closely at these matters since. And from my own observations, as I pointed out in this thread, I think between 42 to 69% of my new daily followers are bots. Not even joking. Sarah0485270054 with 3 tweets, 0 followers, and a 3-month-old account is basically half of my new followers. Unsure if these are regularly purged. I hope so, otherwise the 110,000 people following me on Twitter is probably actually only 10 people in total. Let me know if you're one of them. Elon responding quite succinctly, interesting. Some more discussion in the thread about bots from Elon Musk replying, quote, any sensible random sampling process is fine. If many people independently get similar results for the percent of fake, spam, and duplicate accounts, that will be telling. I picked 100 as a sample size number because that is what Twitter used to calculate less than 5% fake, spam, duplicate accounts. By the way, can you imagine what an absolute fucking joke of a company Twitter is? They randomly sample 100 accounts, and that's how they determine the percentage of genuine users versus fake, spam, and duplicate accounts. Now, a sample of 100 is better than a sample of 12, but Twitter internally, I mean, for fuck's fucking sake, guys, hundreds of millions of allegedly daily active monetizable users, and you sample 100 accounts to determine how many bots. I mean, what the fuck are you idiots doing? Clearly, none of these folks have any idea about statistical significance and required sample size. Jesus. Elon's proposal here of many, many samples of 100 actually makes a lot of sense. But Twitter sampling a single group of 100 people? Bruh, seriously, what a joke. And it gets even more hilarious. An update just a couple of hours ago today. Twitter Legal just called to complain that I violated their non-disclosure agreement by revealing the bot check sample size is 100. This actually happened. There was an interesting comment on the thread. You didn't think about this, the bot issue, before offering $44 billion to buy the company? Elon clarifying, I relied upon the accuracy of Twitter's public filings. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is negotiating 101. I'm actually really excited, and so should all the Tesla stock investors out there, because this is the first public, open, transparent negotiation we're seeing Elon Musk involved in. Obviously, behind the scenes, the guy is an absolute killer negotiator. He's been doing this stuff for 20 plus years in public and private companies. But to see this unfold in the open is fantastic. My prediction is that if Elon and his team can find evidence Twitter massively understated the number of fake, duplicate, and spam accounts on their website, this deal will definitely be repriced. Probably at least $10 billion off, maybe at $44.20, maybe at $42.69, maybe even lower. So let's have a look at my most recent Twitter followers just to see if we can notice any trends and try to determine really roughly what are the probabilities here that this account might be a bot, and does it look like maybe there's more than 5% bots following my account. Obviously, it's a tiny sample, just one person. It's very random. This isn't the be all and end all. But hey, I have noticed some strange things with my followers. Seems to be a lot more than 5% bots amongst the new followers. So currently my account has 115,702 followers. Let's click through. Let's look at some of the latest ones and look for some clues as to what might be a bot and what won't. Now, to be clear, this proves nothing, and these kind of indicators need to be looked at in aggregate. Some of the clues, some of the hints that an account might be a bot include recently created, especially within the last 3 or so months. Another clue, 0 tweets. Another clue, 0 followers. And by the way, if not 0 tweets, some of these bot accounts will actually post 3, 4, 5 apparently real looking tweets. At first glance, a cursory look, oh yeah, cool, that's probably a real person. Look, they've posted a holiday photo, it must be real. But if you look a lot closer, sometimes these accounts actually just have a few really generic tweets to make them look at first glance like a person, but you pay attention like, come on, there's no way. Another clue, username has a bunch of randomly generated numbers. Now, this again doesn't prove anything, but these are the kind of trends. If you see enough accounts that have enough of these attributes, in my opinion, it's probably better than even odds that they are actually a bot. Again, some aren't, Doesn't prove anything, but let's have a look through my most recent followers in real time and see if we can notice any trends. I'm going to move through these fairly quickly. If you guys want to pause and really go, just go look at my Twitter account at Steve Mark Ryan. You can do this yourself. So let's see the most recent one. We've got some random numbers here, which isn't a great start for Moses, but doesn't prove anything. Moses, 34 followers. Might be legit. Thanks for the follow, Moses. G, 0 followers, 13 following. Let's have a quick look at this, just for fun. Why not? Generic picture of a dog, 0 followers, 0 tweets. Interesting. Proves nothing, of course, but you know what? Definitely possible that this account could be a bot, or they may have just joined Twitter. Also a possibility, but again, we need to look at these in aggregate. We're not going to get direct proof. We just have to think a little bit. How about Troy here? 0 followers, 8 following. Profile says everything. 1 tweet. What is that 1 tweet? Oh, doesn't exist. Okay, apparently not 1 tweet. Let's have a look at the next one. Hey, wow, seems legit. Let's move on. I think at this point in time, maybe we've got 1, maybe 1.5, possibly 2 bots out of 4. About 50%, but again, just really generic. Let's have another look. I'm not going to go too deep on this. Fancy that. 12 following, 0 followers. What are the odds that this account is brand fucking new? Joined May 2022. What a surprise. Again, proves absolutely nothing, but it's interesting, isn't it? How about Atheon here? I'm feeling some legit vibes here. Good stuff. Let's continue. How about John? I'm a guy. John, I'm a guy. April 2022, 2 tweets. That I can't see. How about Chris Lim here? 1 follower, maybe new to Twitter. That's great. Let's assume that Chris is legit. How about Reflex? Crypto and dog lover. Let's give Reflex a pass here as well. How about Diane Abram? Hard worker. What a generic profile again. Do you really think a human being on Twitter filled out their profile as hard worker? Created May 2022, 0 tweets. Not looking good. Bruna here looks like a little bit of bait for some of those basement-dwelling adult virgins. May 2022, 0 followers. Seems a bit weird. Now, at this point in the video, my spidey sense is suggesting I feel that maybe more than 5% of these recent followers are bots. Let's continue. How about Sacked King? Another account with literally 0 followers, 21 following. How about The Man with a picture of not a man? 2 followers, sure. That'll pass as a human. We've got another one here, Ritesh Yadav, 0 followers, locked account, generic numbers in profile, 1 tweet, protected of course, so I can't really verify. Let's continue. We've got Budja here, hey, looks legit. Matthew here, maybe legit as well, 10 followers. So I think you guys and girls get the point here. I'm not going to go through all of these recent followers. If you guys really want to do this to your own account, do it to my account. I am seeing a lot of things that give me very, very, very strong indications, but no proof that clearly more than 5% of my recent followers on Twitter aren't humans. So let's wrap this one up. A cursory glance at my own Twitter profile seems to indicate better than even odds that more than 5% of the accounts following me recently, which is a small sample size, but following me recently probably are spam bots, fake accounts, scammers, and duplicates. If this pattern is repeatable throughout Twitter, Twitter are in big fucking trouble. This deal will get repriced. Elon clearly says, hey guys, you said 5% or less. It's more than 5%. The numbers don't check out anymore. We need to reprice this bad boy. I suspect we've got at least an 80% chance that Twitter has overstated the amount of actual legitimate monetizable daily users, meaning about an 80% chance that this deal does get priced lower. And should it be repriced, I think not only will be this factored into the equation and adjusted accordingly, but so too the current market conditions. Elon has all the power here. If he walks from this deal, at most, he pays a $1 billion fine, chump change for Elon, and Twitter stock collapses 20-30+% in my opinion. Elon has all the cards in this negotiation, and I'm looking forward to watching it play out. I'm giving this deal a 99.5% chance of completing. Whether or not a new price is negotiated, Elon is committed to acquiring Twitter. Free speech matters far too much for him to walk away unless he absolutely needs to. I don't see it happening. I do see Elon and his team putting massive pressure on Twitter to reprice this deal considerably lower, and I recommend all Tesla stock investors and Elon fanboys and fangirls sit back, relax, grab your popcorn and enjoy the show as we watch one of the world's biggest brains negotiate publicly on a multi-deca billion-dollar deal. A rare opportunity indeed. And one final piece of news, we're over on Social Blade, which I recently discovered, kind of embarrassing for a social media content creator, but hey, I just don't give a flying fuck about subscribers and stats, but been paying very close attention since the Twitter deal. For those who haven't been following along, I'll fill you in quickly. I got shadow banned on Twitter, meaning that my tweets were reaching nobody other than my existing followers and occasionally a few accounts who'd interact with me very regularly. Why the shadow ban? I don't know. Happened to coincide almost exactly with the moment I began repeatedly, consistently, and heavily criticizing Twitter on both YouTube and Twitter for their failures in censorship, fact-checking, and yes, their shadow banning practices. As you guys can see here, new followers on my account was hovering around that 400, 500 per day mark, then suddenly, -4, +3, basically the account dead. Why? Because no one was seeing my new tweets. Then suddenly, almost out of Twitter prison, and it seems like we've resumed our usual activity. Now, why was I shadow banned? No fucking idea. Did Twitter communicate with me? No. Was there any transparency? No. And that's a big problem. I cannot wait for Elon to get his hands on this steaming pile of excrement and fix it. From a Tesla stock investor's point of view, in my opinion, the cheaper the Twitter deal happens, the better for Tesla stock. Now, this shouldn't make a difference, but there's a lot of institutional investors, people who are very bad at math and so on, who are concerned about Elon borrowing against his Tesla stock if necessary to complete the deal. In short, the better the deal this is, and the sooner it gets wrapped up, the more likely it is that Tesla stock can resume its current trajectory to the fill in the blank. And lastly, don't forget you can join Patreon with the card in the corner, link in the pinned comment. You'll gain access to my Tesla stock price targets all the way out to 2032, loads of exclusive content. PS, I'm going to be creating a lot more real estate centric videos for Patreon in the coming months. Got a few moves happening behind the scenes. By the way, I didn't say I'm buying real estate or selling real estate, so don't make any assumptions. If you want to find out more, just join Patreon and you'll be able to see the videos as they drop. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.